as I'm sure you've heard now, Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who has been a huge target of MAGA hate, and Trump has attacked her like every single day. He usually attacks Ilhan Omar. Recently, he attacked Ilhan Omaha. But I think he was talking about this same Ilhan Omar, the Democratic Congresswoman, and she had someone attack her or spray on her some unknown liquid at a town hall, and then he was grabbed. And this was what you were seeing on screen there was the guy in question who has now been arrested. And I mean, you can take that down, Jaden, before we barely knew anything about this, and I'll show you more video of the actual incident, he had like what are these called? A syringe of what was described as smelly liquid that he walked up to her. I'll show you that video. But one of the more disturbing parts, now that we know she's okay and all that, is right off the bat, before we knew anything. Like, it could have been a chemical agent of some kind, you know? You had MAGA going, it was staged. Trump said, I don't think about her. I think she's a fraud. She probably had herself sprayed, knowing her. So this is coming from the guy who had an assassination attempt against him. And plenty of people were upset whenever online influencers would question the facts of that event. And you would never want to spread false information about such a serious event, obviously. And whenever people would say, you got shot in the ear, right? Happened. Why is your whole ear back? Right? What? You have superhuman healing abilities. Cool. Right? They would go, you must be saying you support the assassination. No, of course not. That's horrible. Horrible. And we were very clear on that the whole time, obviously. But like, before you even knew what had happened, people were jumping saying it's staged. She probably sprayed herself with whatever. And it's pretty sickening. It is pretty sickening. So it's Andy Kasmerchak was charged with, and that's the exact pronunciation, just so you know, with third-degree assault after allegedly spraying the 43-year-old Minnesota congresswoman with a liquid. One of the reporting was apple cider vinegar, which is why it was smelly, but a lot of them are unconfirmed, so I don't know. You can see the syringe there. You had Laura Loomer saying you can take that down, so obviously staged. You had so many lies being told. Let me show you this video angle first.
And DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment.
So while we continue through this, if you appreciate the show, these updates, please do click the subscribe button. Makes a big difference. I appreciate you all greatly. So now that we know she's fine and that it might have been a non-dangerous element, still obviously insane and scary, how epic is it? Let's just say, how epic is it that she goes up with her fist out? Like, almost every politician who thinks they're being attacked runs away. She walked towards. That's like, cool. That's pretty epic. Watch this. If someone stormed up to me and sprayed something on me, like, before the liquid even hits me, I'd be crying. And I'd be like, security! No, not really. Not really. That was just for the humor. I would obviously go find my significant other.
Luke Beasley.
I'd obviously go find my significant other, put my arm in front of them and say, stay back, baby. But it's pretty impressive, this reaction. Watch, she puts her fist out.
Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment.
Yes. So that's one angle. What's the theory here for MAGA? She got a guy with a long history on social media of saying insane racist, white supremacist things, ranting against her constantly, who reportedly told his neighbor before he left for the event that he might get arrested, that she somehow convinced him to stage this for her. Like, what? Aside from the insensitivity of those claims, what's the logic of them? Here's a different angle.
Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment. I don't know.
Oh my God, he sprayed something on her.
I need a napkin to know nothing.
Yeah, that's obviously incredibly scary. And I cannot stop coming back to the fact that she stormed towards him. Not storm, but like walked towards him confidently. That could have been that could have been something flammable, and then he like lights her on fire. Like when I watched it initially, I was like, "Oh, what's about to happen?" And to have the confidence to walk and go, he better be happy. It's like one of the hold me back situations. He better be happy that security guard pulled him away. She was about to handle this herself. Oh my gosh, amazing. So yeah, here's the syringe. Super creepy, scary, frightening. And Anthony asked his neighbor to watch his dog and hinted that there could be trouble. He said, I'm going to this Omar thing. I'm like, Omar what? He said, this town hall thing. And he said, I might get arrested. So it was premeditated and insane. But like, look at this account. This totally looks staged. It's very strange. We're going crazy as a people. I really believe we as a American people are going a little bit insane. But then here's Randy Fine, that really honestly as a person, disgusting Republican congressman who says this is her fault.
I got to start out with your reaction to the attack on Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. I mean, obviously, we often agree with her politics, but this is just not acceptable at any level.
Well, I've got two thoughts. First, look, I want Ilhan Omar to be deported and denaturalized, but I don't want her to be attacked or hurt, and people shouldn't do this sort of thing. But I also blame Ilhan Omar for what happened. When they describe people throwing articles at law enforcement, at officers of the federal government as peaceful protesters.
Throwing articles, like a New York Times article? ICE, get out of our city! Here's the latest issue of the Wall Street Journal. Articles. What is that? Is that for something? Articles? It's something like an article of like a thing? Is that a term for? Sorry. Anyways, I don't think she did. And if she did, she would be wrong. That she described people throwing things at ICE agents as peaceful. I think she was probably applauding the ones who were peaceful, which are doing something very patriotic. But if anyone's violent, that's wrong. But he blames her. Pretty gross stuff there. Then you have Greg Kelly, who tried to justify the killing of Alex Preddy by saying, this looks like a phone. I mean, looks like a gun. If you hold your phone like as if it is a gun, which is not what Alex Preddy was doing. Some pretty heinous stuff from Kelly as well. And he says here, it looked like silly string.
She'll continue doing her work. So it's unknown what that substance is, but apparently she is okay tonight. Craig?
Well, we're glad about that. Let's not overdo it there. Ilhan Omar, she's a survivor. It looked to me like silly string, which we used to play with back in the day. Well,
yeah, I never saw silly string coming out of a syringe. And then the survivor reference was not in relation to the liquid being sprayed. She said like she's a survivor. And at one point in the interview, she was like, I survived war before. This doesn't faze me, was more the language. She said, I'm okay. I'm a survivor. So this small agitator isn't going to intimidate me from doing my work. I don't let bullies win. Grateful to my incredible constituents who rally behind me. Minnesota strong. So any violence, assault, harassment is wrong. However much we are in a tense political moment, we have to find a way to push back politically and democratically and with our speech, and not in ways that violate the law. And whenever it is a protest gone wrong, MAGA says that. But whenever it's someone going up to Ilhan Omar and doing that, or a murder of Melissa Hortman or Paul Pelosi or whatever, then all of a sudden they have conspiracies and they don't actually care as much and all that. And to demonstrate that this is a universal principle for me, here's the right-wing account Libs of TikTok was posting this. It was going viral. I guess Elliot Foran, who's a Democratic candidate for Ohio Attorney General, was saying this.
Hi, this is Elliot Forhan, candidate for Ohio Attorney General. I want to tell you what I mean when I say that I am going to kill Donald Trump. I mean, I'm going to obtain a conviction rendered by a jury of his peers at a standard of proof beyond a reasonable doubt, based on evidence presented at a trial conducted in accordance with the requirements of due process, resulting in a sentence duly executed of capital punishment. That is what I mean when I say that I'm going to kill Donald Trump.
So this is obviously a very dangerous way of him trying to go viral. I'm certain he's not going to get the nomination in the Democratic primary. And he is saying something dangerous that I completely condemn. And if you are MAGA and you see that and you're understandably outraged and I think that particular language could be perceived as a threat, but you think that calling for the execution of a political figure is wrong, I'm with you. What about when Trump did it? So I'm with you here. Bad, oppose, condemn. What about when the president of the United States, not some random candidate who's not going to get the nomination, said that Democrats should be put to death? The punishment for treason is death. And he was doing the same thing. I didn't say kill them. I said that if you brought it to its logical conclusion and they were tried, then they would be executed. So let's just have the same standard here. Or whenever Randy Fine is saying, I blame Ilhan Omar because he believes she is justifying protests that get violent or that when they throw the Daily Beast at people. And that justifies people doing that to her. What does that mean about what would be justified against Trump then, given that he approved of violent rioters and pardoned them, right? So it's like sometimes you want to go, hey, we could agree on something. Oh, wait, you only have selective outrage, don't you? Don't you, libs of TikTok? Now, that's misleading if you're not familiar. That's a right-wing account. They're highlighting libs of TikTok in a disparaging light.